Today I'm going to be sharing with you my high school homeschool curriculum choices for my 10th grader. Now high school is such a different beast in and of itself, and when you're homeschooling it's not going to look like the public school system at all. Even if you try to mimic it, well, you shouldn't try to mimic it because you're homeschooling, right? But what's nice about homeschooling is you can pick the classes, the order of the classes, you can decide if the electives are going to count for credit. There's driving, there's SATs, PSATs, there's testing, there's lots of different options that you have, getting them ready for college, technical school, just so much jam-packed in these 4 years. So in this video, I'm going to share with you the academic things, the curriculum that I've picked out. I'm also going to talk a little bit about how we're scheduling our year and some extracurricular activities and how we're going to put that on our transcript, because I feel like this just all goes together. It's high school. It's a big, it's overwhelming sometimes. So let's just start with the curriculum and the core subjects. All right, so math. With my son, if you want to see more about this math journey, by the way, I have a really good video that tells you what worked and what didn't work. It was a huge journey this year. I'm going to stick that video right up here as a link, but we are using Math UC. It is time for geometry. We are finishing out Math UC with Algebra 1. I cannot even begin to speak even more fondly of Math UC. I feel like it has become a lifesaver. It is so good. It's mastery. I started off my homeschool career not liking Math UC because I was too stuck in the public school mindset. Talk about that in the video. I should just make a video about Math UC. Anyway, I don't have the geometry curriculum in front of me, but I will put a link in the description box below if you want to learn more about the curriculum from their website. So he is doing Math UC, geometry. We love it. We're stuck with Math UC actually for all my kids. I'm converting them over. For science, my son is actually going to our local home education program, which I've been teaching there for like 13, 14, 15 years. And I usually do the elementary, middle school, and one high school class of science. But this will be his first year not taking my science classes, but instead taking it from the high school science teacher, which I'm really excited because he's really super cool. But he is using Apologia, and I'm kind of like do Apologia or go home kind of person because I love Apologia. It's always worked for me, teaching at homeschool co-op and even teaching at home. I just love their format. I love how it is a creation-based, faith-based curriculum, but it's also very comprehensive and very in-depth, and kids that do take these courses do learn their stuff. In fact, they've been known, if you're familiar with the CLEP test, they've been known to pass the CLEP test, so they don't have to take biology when they get to college. And for us that are believers, that's like a win-win for us. Taking biology in college when you aren't a science major, you know, really pushes that evolution. But if you learned from Apologia and you're getting that creation-based foundational class, it's really good, especially if you pass CLEP. So Apologia or bust. I guess that would be, is that how you say it? I don't know. Anyway. So let me talk to you a little bit about Spanish and foreign languages, because he is doing a Spanish curriculum this year. He actually started this Spanish 1 back in March. Now for our state, now it's not a requirement for graduation. That's the beautiful thing about our state. Some states have requirements for when you homeschool, some states don't, but our state doesn't. However, because I want to make sure that when he graduates, he can still be college bound, regardless if he goes to college or technical school or just, you know, becomes an entrepreneur or something along those lines. I want to make sure he's college bound just in case he does change his mind. I know colleges really like to see those foreign language credits on the transcripts. At least the colleges in my state do. So I talked to him. I basically said this, hey, let's do foreign language. You know, you need it for college. It looks good. So you get to choose language, and I'm going to ask you, do you really want to learn it? Or do you just want to like take it and forget it the next day? Because that's pretty much how most foreign language curriculum out there is. I mean, there are some really good ones. Like the one I'm going to mention. I mean, come on, guys, you know this. Like, we all took French, Spanish, whatever you took in high school. How many of you actually, like, remember the language? I really think the only way to really learn that language is if you immerse yourself in it. Like, I'm not sending him to Puerto Rico for 6 months, even though that would work definitely as a foreign language credit. I don't want to be honest. Anyway, he wanted Spanish, by the way, if you didn't get that. He wanted Spanish and he wanted to really learn it. So I found this a couple years ago called Homeschool Spanish Academy, and basically it's based in Guatemala. So you get online, you have an online classroom teacher, they have a curriculum laid out and everything for you, and they work one-on-one with the student for 50 minutes during a class session. And you get to choose what teacher you want, you get to choose which day of the week that you want, how many days of the week, what time. Very, very, very flexible. So we actually have him doing Spanish 3 days a week, sometimes 2, but mostly 3 days a week, because he really wanted to hone in on his Spanish. And that's one thing that I really like about homeschooling, is that we can actually unit study something or really hone in on something and maybe do a couple easy classes around it, but really focus on this. So he's going to try, the attempt is to do Spanish 1 and Spanish 2 in 1 year, because he is taking those 3 classes a week, which basically means he's doing Spanish every day somehow. But because it's one-on-one, it's so much more intense. What's also really nice about doing it that way, you know, when you let time lapse between classes, especially foreign language classes, you tend to forget a little bit more. So the fact that we're doing it so close together is just a win-win for him, just all the way. And we have the same teacher throughout. And he's so great. Like, the teacher that my son has, first of all, he loves him. He thinks he's amazing, but also he sends video updates. He keeps me posted. There's grades online. It's a win-win for us. So Homeschool Spanish Academy, I will stick a link up here. It's an older video that you can watch where I go through all the details on how to use it, what the platform looks like. It was when I had middle school and elementary doing it. High school is just a little bit different, as in, like, I have a high schooler. It has a different kind of feel to it because I have a high schooler. But the format and everything's the same. Probably do an updated video. Just let me know in the description box below and I can tell you more on how it's working with him. But like I said, goal is to get Spanish 1 and Spanish 2 out of the way now. And once he finishes Spanish 2, I am planning on doing an SAT prep class with him. And I cannot think, of course I'm on here, but if you look up Jan Burke, she is the author. I think it's College Prep something. She speaks at the conventions. I really like what she has to say. And that's probably what I'm going to be using, because I'm only trying to keep him on one online program at a time. I mean, it's just a lot of screen time, okay? Matthew C does have online videos that they use, but it's only twice per lesson, and so there's days where he's not doing those videos, and IW does the same thing. So now we're going to get into some actual curriculum books that I'm going to show you. So as you can see, Spanish is like a big bulk of his education. Biology, Apologia, and Matthew C, but we have not covered our social sciences, and we have not covered our language arts. So to start with, I'm going to share with you our social science. He wanted to do economics, and I think his younger brother is also going to do it with him. It is a high school curriculum, and so his younger brother is probably, he's in 8th grade, is probably going to be doing it for high school, and it is through Generations. Now, I love Generations, and I just discovered this very recently. And to be honest, I fell in love with it right away because it is a faith-based curriculum, and it's very faith-based. Like, it's not just like, hey, I'm here, but there's nothing in there about God. Or maybe like, you know, you have a page and then it has a scripture. It's not like that. Like, it asks some good critical thinking type questions that are faith-based. And I really like it. Now, when I looked at the curriculum for Generations, my first thought was that it's going to be a lot like Masterbooks. And to be honest, I've tried with Masterbooks, and I know some people have so much success with Masterbooks. I have not. And I feel horrible about it because, first of all, I love their science. Their science, hands down, is great, especially if you are working with a child that is doing just one-on-one kind of stuff. You know, they're at home, they're not in a classroom setting. Masterbook science is great. And I actually think Masterbooks across the board, if you have just a child, open up the textbook, do the thing, close the textbook, they're done. One-on-one, very independent, Masterbooks works well that way. That's probably why I didn't have much luck with Masterbooks, to be honest. But I love Generations. And it is a very traditional approach. The pictures are amazing. And I know that's like, I feel really cheesy saying the pictures are great. But they really are great. They are. Let me show you. Okay, this, like show you this one. I'm like, look at that picture. That's not a really good picture. So something like this, I honestly, the economics book is not as eye-catching as their history curriculum, which I have sitting over here. So I'll show you that one. Okay, this is just much better, but this is also the first grade curriculum that I have sitting next to me. Anyway, this is it's so good. We finished this. I'll do a review on it soon. But he is using the economics, how the world runs, and your part in it. So it says right here, right up at the top, as you can see, it doesn't just cover money, but there's home economics, work life, home economics, national economics, successful business. So it's going to be covering the whole thing in a full year. Here's the textbook, and here is the workbook that it comes with. And the workbook actually has some projects that they're going to do. This is not a like, hey, let's just get this done with kind of economics course. This is, hey, let's actually learn about this from a biblical perspective and kind of kickstart your way into learning how to, deal with money. So just to give you some ideas of the chapters. Human motivation, the law of supply and demand, super important. Wealth, inequality, thorns and thistles, the reality of sin. Economic theories, it's in there. But they have biblical economics and the economic systems of man. Okay, that's cool. Getting your job, working in the economy, bankruptcy and your money, how the world robs, cheats, and steals, investments, seeking good government, how to be successful in business, making wise purchasing choices, how business runs, and your calling in life. And then the projects in the final exam. So this is what we're going to do for economics for a year. I know some high schools will actually only do economics for half a year, but this is a year. I know my high school, I did economics for half a year, so that's why I say that, but not all states are the same. Also, he is taking a career readiness course at the homeschool co-op that I'm involved with. Super excited about that. It's going to go really well with this course. And so it's kind of like a bundle, like it's a package, those two. And I think when I'm actually going to be taking his grades and putting them on the transcripts, I'm going to take those two and just kind of combine them together as the economics course. So that's one thing that's great about being a homeschool parent is that you can decide what the classes are and you can bundle things up. Same thing is true, we're not broken up into fall, spring, summer semesters. We can kind of weave things in and out with their classes, just like what I'm doing with Spanish, where we started in March and we're probably going to end in March, maybe go a little bit further, but it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. And also his algebra, we're probably going to finish his algebra sometime in mid-fall and then start start geometry in mid-fall. And if you want to know more about why I did that, you can always watch the math video, which I talk about in the description box below. Okay, language arts is last. I feel for ninth grade that we just kind of really pushed him through a lot of language arts. I'm actually bundling like two classes from the co-op and then what we worked at home for language arts, and I'm bundling it together to make one year. So this is what I decided to do when it came to his language arts this year. We're not gonna do grammar this year. He is grammared out, I'm grammared out. It's 10th grade, he should know his basic grammar that he does at this point. I do want to incorporate his writing throughout all of his other classes. I think we're going to do writing with economics. I know for a fact that Apology of Biology has a final project research paper that they do. It weaves in and out. If we do add some writing, now he's been doing IEW constantly, like his whole life pretty much. There is another curriculum that I just started up that goes really, really well with IEW. It's called The Lost Tools of Writing, and I've already started working on that with my 8th grader. He's actually in 7th grade right now, and we're going to continue through 8th grade. I think there are only 9 essays that they have to do, but it connects with all the other courses. So whatever book you're reading in language arts, you're going to write a paper about that in this course. So it's the Lost Tools of Writing. So actually what I have here is a literature curriculum that is from Generations. Now, we're actually going to start it now. Is actually what I'm going to do. He's finishing up reading Animal Farm, which I really like Animal Farm. I really love that book. I love the historical context with that, and he actually is using one of those study guides that you can get. Rainbow Resource has it. It's one of those. I can't remember which one specifically. I'll show you eventually when I do my language arts, what works and what doesn't work video. He's going to finish up Animal Farm, which has got 3 more chapters left, and then we are going to get started with this right here, which is Great Christian Stories. Now, it is the literature 7th through 9th grade. He's in 9th grade still. Why I actually decided to go with this for him this year. First of all, he's got a heavy load when it comes to the Spanish and then the economics. And I felt like, and he had a heavy load last year too. So let's just kind of enjoy this a little bit. Yes, there are questions. Love Generations, how deep the questions are. I'm so impressed with how deep these questions are. I love them so much. And I have to do a review on Generations on just how amazing these questions are from a teacher's perspective, as a former teacher perspective. I'm not going to go off on it here, but this has just a lot of questions, vocabulary in here. This is fun. They have essay assignments in there too, so we do have some writing happening throughout this, and we could even do like a research paper as well too. Yeah, there is a final exam in here for him as well for each of these books. So, okay, let me show you the reason why I decided to go with this particular curriculum. Well, first of all, I already said the curriculum is amazing, but the book choices, amazing. Okay, so I'll show you this one right here. I didn't know much about this, and then when I started looking at what this was about, I got really super excited because it's about, so basically it's a war, but the characters represent different biblical characters. So I just thought that was really fun. I don't know. And this was written a long time ago. Let me see the public. It's an older book. Whoa. Really? Yeah, it was written in the 1600s. So, like I said, it's an older book, and I don't know. I'm going to read this too, actually, while he goes through this. All right. I will say I don't know what this book is, but it's a book of martyrs, which I think is going to be really awesome for him, especially since this summer he is going to Jamaica, and I really hope he doesn't die in Jamaica. He's not going to. I am feeling very confident about this mission trip, but just understanding, we might actually read this book after the mission trip, after he gets back. But just understanding that people do sacrifice their life for their beliefs for God. This is my least excited. I'm excited, but I'm like my least out of all of them. Okay, drum roll for my last 2 favorites. I love this book. Oh my goodness, Robinson Crusoe, and the fact that it has such deep quality questions that go along with this book. I'm super, super duper excited about this. And favorite book of all time, not all time, it's one of my favorites. It's just so good. The Hiding Place. I am so excited that he finally gets to read this. Like, you don't even know. There's been so many times that I sit here and think, okay, do I want to listen to this book on audio in front of all of my kids in the car as we drive around? I'm not ready for that yet because I still have an 11-year-old and I don't know if she's ready for this book yet. But I so wanted him to read it and not miss out on this. I am very excited, especially that it's not just a quick read, that he's actually going to get a chance to think about it. So that is why I am excited about Generations and this language arts curriculum. Now, just to kind of fill in the gaps, those are our core subjects, but to fill in the gaps a little bit, there are some things that he's going to do, for example, physical education and socialization. Obviously, he's going to the home education program where I teach. I love this place. I've been there for 13, 14, 15, I don't really know. It's somewhere between 13 and 15 years, to be honest. But I've been there forever, and I love them so much. Like, the director knew my kids and babysat my kids when they were babies. So I have a really good relationship with this community, and they're small, they're Christian-based. I can teach from a biblical worldview very comfortably there, and we pray before each and every class. I need to do a video on good homeschool co-ops and what makes them so good. I told you that he was doing biology. I told you that he was doing the career readiness, but he is also going to be doing physical education there. They're starting up an archery team. So he took archery at another homeschool, home education program. And since one of the directors moved into, my favorite co-op, the one I'm with, we're going to now start taking it there, archery there. Oh, by the way, the archery is competitive. So fun. We did it last year as competitive. It's so much fun. So much fun. It really, the term that they like to use, it helps teach the kids how to focus, or the term that they like to use, which is I'm locked in. I love that term. We need to use that more often as moms. Lock in. So archery, and then he is going to be doing a class called Old School PE. I love the PE coach so much. She's like one of my dear friends. I mean, I wish we could have coffee. I need to ask her out for coffee. We just like go work out together and work together. So actually she's my gym instructor at the gym. So she's pretty cool. Anyway, so it's Old School PE, and we're talking like, you know, the old school PE stuff, like running around, tag, chase, but they do, you know, more sports type stuff for the older kids. And then he is going to be doing cross country and track and field. He's going to be doing it with his old homeschool co-op, even though they do have one beginning at my favorite homeschool co-op that I work at. And I don't know, I'm kind of working with him to try to get him to shift over just because of driving and time, but it's also super important that he is with his friends. So I'm making that happen because that track and field cross country is like 7 o'clock in the morning. I have to wake up at 6 a.m. to get him down there 4 days a week. And then of course track meets and cross country meets and stuff like that. It's a lot, way more than archery is. Now he is also very, very involved with his youth group and our church. I kind of laugh a little bit because I'm actually involved with 2 different congregations. And you all know that I am a Messianic believer, and that is just, I've always done the High Holy Days, I've done Passover, Rosh Hashanah, like 20 plus years. That is who I am. And the youth group at my congregation has not always been, that's not its strength. They're working on it. Let's just be honest, it's not as big as some of these others. And there is a church that I have actually fallen in love with. Really good, solid teaching, very solid teaching. And the youth group the youth pastor's amazing. They're going to Jamaica on a mission trip. And I don't know, it's just such a good environment for him. So he's very much involved with that. So that is on Wednesdays and Sundays. But he is also taking piano on Wednesdays too. I know this sounds like a lot. So he's getting his music with the piano, but he's also now at the Messianic congregation on Saturdays. He is part of the youth band. So we try to keep him really busy. And I don't want to overwhelm him, but by keeping him busy, I'm also keeping him social. I'm also keeping him off of his phone and the computer. That's how I'm doing that. Because as homeschoolers, it's so easy for them to be like, done, close the books, get on the computer for 6, 7, 8 hours. I want to keep him as busy as I possibly can with his friends, with his youth group, with his, fun extracurricular activities. Just keep him having fun. Eventually he'll get a job. We're also looking at volunteer hours, but I'm leaving it up to him on what he wants to do. That pretty much covers up, the curriculum choices and then, the little extra things that I'm doing for high school. I do want to make a video on transcripts, and I think the transcripts go nationwide, to be honest. And I think it's very straightforward and to the point from a homeschool mom perspective. So I think, let me know if you want to watch that video in the comment section down below. And also let me know if you've used any of this curriculum, what you think, all the things. And thank you again so much for watching. Check out the links in the description box below if you are curious about any of the stuff. So thank you, and I will see you in my next video. Bye.